Hello there, YouTubers out there, and our Utopians. Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Adam.
And welcome to the Utopia of Nerd News, where we have all this kinds of nerdy, geeky stuff. News. Yeah. So, hi, welcome. Let's get started with some gaming news.
Actually, before we get into that,
just kidding.
I should say we have a small update, which is we have slightly tweaked our format a little bit in terms of we plan on doing all of our recordings on our Saturdays just like normal, but instead of trying to rush out and getting everything done while we're trying to do our other things, Sarah works, etc., we get kind of busy and we get videos out sometimes at weird points like at midnight and stuff.
Or like 3 in the morning.
So we decided to make it so we will release all of our news videos here at exactly 1 o'clock Central Standard Time in the afternoon, 1 p.m. Every Sunday.
Yes.
So we have a specific date for you.
Definitely, and our videos will start to include a lot more things like fancy stuff.
And fairies.
Are we talking Pokemon here?
We could talk Pokemon. I was thinking like Zelda.
Oh.
Hey!
Listen! So, why don't you listen to our news?
The first bit of gaming news is something that actually extremely excites me. This is probably my favorite bit of news that we have for the entire week. It is, a few days ago, BioWare came out and said, hey, we've been listening to a lot of fan feedback for Dragon Age 3, or Dragon Age Inquisition, right? And we want to incorporate it into the game because Dragon Age 2 was very disappointing for a lot of us Dragon Age fans. And they gave me a bit of news that even though I thought this game was going to be a lot better than 2, I wasn't expecting. And it's something they're bringing back from Origins, which is you can create the race of your main character.
Finally!
I know,
yes.
It's so exciting.
Thank
Even if you want to play as a human, it's really exciting because
Right.
I hated them going from you could choose between like 6 different starting points to 1 starting point for the sequel. It's a serious downgrade, and I don't know if they'll have the 6 different starting points. It'll probably be just the 1, but it's still nice. They didn't say what races. It's obviously going to have humans, elves, and dwarves. Hopefully it'd be kind of cool to see a Kunari.
Oh, that'd be cool.
It'd be cool if you could create a Kunari. But I would just anticipate the big 3. I don't even know if they'll go into city, Dalish elves, or different types of dwarves, but still really cool.
That's definitely cool. Are they still going to stay with having the last name character?
I don't know, but I think so.
Ah.
Yeah. But that would also require them to have to go into that character and change that whole character's background depending on what race you are. So it's pretty cool. I'm excited to have that back. I think that should be a staple of about every kind of fantasy game that doesn't have like a defined storyline. When you have the multiple choice kind of thing, I like having the multiple.
Well, and that's what was nice about Dragon Age. Yeah, Origins is that you didn't have that specific storyline like you do in Mass Effect.
Right.
And then they tried to bring that.
And it was great for Mass Effect.
Right. Worked.
Don't get me wrong. I would have absolutely loved being able to play as a different race in Mass Effect, but the way they did things, it worked into the story, and it was bad to see that kind of downgrade for it. Also, they just threw in there and they said that there will be a large and varied environments, which is another one of the big problems of 2 because they just reuse different things
stayed in the same town
all the time. And customizable armor.
Oh, yay. That's cool.
That's always fun, right? That was in the Mass Effect series as well. But that's something that's cool to bring in, you know?
Definitely, yeah.
Especially because occasionally in Origins you get some weird armor like looks and stuff for your characters, and you're just like,
Not quite sure that blends.
Right,
Not quite
right.
sure.
So now you can make them look however you want them to look.
Yes, that is very exciting news.
It is indeed. That kind of gives me some new life for the Dragon Age series.
And when do they have that coming out, or have they said?
Sometime next year.
Sometime next year. So, looking forward to next year.
Yes, next year. Next, moving on, some other really kind of intriguing video game news is Sega and rumored other 19 companies have shown interest in the purchase of Atlus, the developers/publishers of the Shin Megami Tensei games, the recently gaining popularity of the Persona games, the Trauma Center games, Catherine, the Demon Souls franchise, and the Etrian Odyssey franchise, and a few others, but those are kind of the bigger ones. Because Atlus is owner parent company, Index Corporation, has filed for a civil rehabilitation, which is like the Japanese version of bankruptcy.
Oh.
So, because they're going under, and Atlus is like their only money profit making group. So there's a lot of companies out there, and Sega was the big named one. It's actually the parent company that owns Sega is the one that actually wants to pick up Atlus, which I'm fine with. I wouldn't be surprised if Square or something tried to hop in there. Personally, I prefer not Square just because they like getting their fingers too far into stuff, I think.
Yes.
But hopefully Sega can do it justice.
Yeah. You know,
if they pick it up.
Maybe it'll bring Sega back to life.
Right. And just so you know, that wouldn't take away Atlus as a developer. It's just the who owns the business that is Atlus. So they'll still be making stuff. People aren't going to get laid off on that because they're doing fine over there.
Good job, Atlus.
Next up, we have a couple little things with Ubisoft. The first one is something that I think is actually kind of cool. I'm sure a lot of people will go like, I don't like it. But they came out and publicly said that they have their definitive ending they want for the Assassin's Creed franchise.
Finally.
And I think that that's really cool because so many game franchises just kind of like keep it going because they don't want to have to create something new, and especially something popular like the Assassin's Creed, even though it's kind of losing steam over like Assassin's Creed 3 and the immediate turnaround for Assassin's Creed 4. I still think it's good because they are a franchise that has a connected story, and I hate when you have a connected story but then they just keep going and they never close anything. It's different than kind of a Final Fantasy Tales kind of thing where they change it up. They have Tales of, Exilia is different than Symphonia, and
right.
etc. When you have a set story that connects all of them, kind of like Mass Effect, they had to close that trilogy. They can keep going. They're doing that with Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts 3 is the last of the Xehanort saga. And then they're going to move on with Sora and Riku and Kairi, etc. I think when you have a defined one, you have to close it at some point, and I'm glad that they came out and said, yeah, we have our plan, we know what we want to do for it. I like that.
Definitely, I like that too. Just close it up. Don't let people keep wondering.
And the other bit of Ubisoft news is that they signed a deal with Hasbro Games, the board game company that owns like Monopoly and stuff, to make video games. They're going to be very cheap, and they're going to be there for a quick buck, but that's the thing.
That's the thing.
Maybe they'll be as good as Battleship the movie, which had nothing to do with the Hasbro board game.
Right. It was about aliens, right?
Yeah, it was like Transformers,
Yeah,
basically.
I never saw it, but...
Don't. It's not worth your while.
You sunk my battleship.
They never said that.
Oh,
kinda
that would have been
disappointing.
great.
And in the last little bit of news, I just wanted to throw in some interesting Pokemon news, actually.
Pokemon.
And that is, they have kind of introduced
Yes.
a big new feature for the Pokemon franchise, which is Mega Pokemon.
Yes.
Which is taking, like, they announced just a handful of Pokemon that'll be able to do this. Blaziken, Mewtwo, Absol. I don't know, there's a few others in there that's just going off the top of my head. But it's like basically a next form of evolution that they can get that changes them. Personally, I thought Mewtwo looked kind of weird. He's the only one I've seen. He like gets like a Dragon Ball Z like Boo transformation. It's really weird. I don't know why they call them like Mega Pokemon when they could just go in there and say like, we're just giving them another evolution chain. I don't know. To me, it seems weird. I know the first one's going to be a Torchic, which can evolve into a Blaziken. They get some special items that give them their Mega Evolution thing.
Oh, like a Moonstone or something like that.
Something along those lines. And also they mentioned something about a gym that's going to be in X and Y that's going to be connected with that somehow. I don't know. They're very vague about things right now, but it seems pretty stupid to me.
I'm so excited. For X and Y, I'm very excited.
Also, it'll probably ruin the online competitive communities for Pokemon.
Probably.
But that does mean the return of Mewtwo to Pokemon.
And
other
some
news.
very OP
You don't have
evolution
to.
of Mewtwo.
Yeah, and you don't have to evolve or Mega them. I thought maybe when I first heard it, maybe it was going to be like a shiny thing where there's like a 0.01% chance to get like a different colored Pokemon or something. I thought it would be something like that where you could get like a bigger one, because that kind of happens in the anime and stuff where you get a larger Geodude or something.
Or a pink Butterfree.
Well, that's a shiny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or a giant Dragonite.
Yeah.
We totally haven't been watching the first season of Pokemon.
Right. No, not at all.
And moving on to movies. The first bit of movie news is a ton of stuff from the Expendables 3 movie. The first of which, Mel Gibson, Harrison Ford, and Antonio Banderas have all officially been signed. And Bruce Willis is out. Bruce Willis was asking for $1 million a day for 4 days, meaning that he was just in a small role, basically asking for way too much. I know Sylvester Stallone tweeted some stuff basically saying he's greedy and lazy. So obviously they're not happy with each other. Do you know that Mel Gibson will play the villain? And we don't know about Harrison Ford or Antonio Banderas.
You know you're an old actor when.
Oh, I know. You look at these names of actors and they're like, who are people that get recognized that aren't doing stuff and you can get fairly cheap? That's basically the Expendables movies.
I'm excited. I don't know why. Maybe it's because Antonio Banderas.
And Harrison Ford.
I like Harrison Ford.
Little Han Solo.
Yeah.
Little Indiana Jones.
And
he's the biggest name in this movie now.
Yeah, and the kitty.
Sorry, Sylvester.
From Shrek. Puss in Boots. Antonio Banderas.
And the next bit of news is at the D23 convention, which is Disney's convention.
Mm-hmm.
Disney announced their next animated film, which will be called Zootopia, which will take place in kind of an alternate reality where humans never existed and animals rule the world, but the animals have kind of, I guess, was that bold book, like Farm whatever, where like where they like talk and they walk and they wear clothes.
No.
I don't know. It's
what was that?
It's they're gonna speak in like a Shakespearean thing, I think. I don't know. It doesn't seem that appealing, but it's just a rough concept right now.
I hated that book.
It makes you love bacon, doesn't it? And the next news is that Carrie, the remake of Carrie, has a release date pushed back, and the lead actress, Chloe Moretz, was quoted saying it was to make the film scarier, which I don't know if that means either the movie sucked and they're trying to spruce it up, or if the movie sucked and they're trying to spruce it up, but it's one of the two.
Well, I've actually heard a lot of people say that they're not excited for this movie at all. They're like, they really need to stop redoing scary movies because the older ones seem to be scarier
Well,
than
it's
the
because
new
practical
ones.
effects are better than special effects.
Yeah.
Just saying. They're more expensive, but they're better.
So I haven't actually heard anybody who's excited for this movie at all.
It's because there is nobody excited for this movie at all.
They should have just not done it.
Well, the whole point of the first one was the build-up for the giant, like, killing scene, basically. And this one, they showed the aftermath of everything in the trailer, so it's like, what's the point? And we have movies that have more destruction than that nowadays with modern technologies. It just doesn't match with modern movies, I don't think. But we'll see, I guess, when it comes out at some point in time.
Yes.
Next up is something that I'm actually kind of happy about. Speaking of Disney, I suppose, Pirates of the Caribbean 5, or Pirates 5, their budget has actually been cut due to how bad The Lone Ranger did.
Oh.
So they've actually cut back on that project, basically saying you don't get $200 million to make a movie because we lost $150 on The Lone Ranger, and they're basically the same. Also, the director Jerry Bruckheimer has lost Final Cut, which is actually huge for those of you who might not be aware of what that is. That basically means Disney is basically saying, you can't come out with this movie until we look at it and we make the changes we want to make, because they have no faith in them anymore.
I don't doubt it.
Pirates has sucked since the first one. Pirates sucked since the first one. Let's be honest.
No,
and Lone Ranger looked like trash. I refused to go see it.
I liked 1, 2, and 3.
You liked 2?
2, the ending was a little meh, but I didn't mind it.
Anyway, also kind of connected with that, just a little sub-story, is that the two actors from The Lone Ranger, Armie Hammer and what's-his-face?
Johnny Depp.
Yeah, Johnny Depp, yeah, that little-known guy. They both basically came out and were pointing fingers at critics saying, you're the reason our movie failed, which is very childish.
Yeah, that's a little immature, guys.
You did a bad movie. Deal with it.
You can't blame critics if... I mean, especially if critics... I mean, it's not like they got together at their critic convention and was like, we're giving that one a bad review.
Yeah.
Critics don't do that.
Or do they? Moving on, if you remember not too far long ago, they announced that UFC Women's Champion Ronda Rousey was going to be in Expendables 3, with the list of everybody else in Hollywood.
Yes.
Well, she's now in negotiation talks to be in Fast and Furious 7, which another former MMA fighter, Gina Carano, was in number 6. That's the thing.
Yep.
Speaking of franchises that need to stop, they need to stop. 7. They're even losing the director they had for 4, 5, and 6, and getting a new director because he didn't want to do anymore. I guess I don't know the reason behind it. I don't pay enough attention to Fast and Furious.
People are still excited for Fast and Furious.
Yeah, they shouldn't be because they're the same. I mean, they're just in some Marvel news. We can't go in an entire episode without some Marvel cinematic news, right? Kevin Feige, the president of Disney's branch of movies, has suggested in an interview that he's planning for all the way up to 2021 now.
For Marvel movies?
Yeah.
Woo!
And the last little thing, we will have a trailer. Speaking of Marvel, we will put it. Oh, let's put it over both because they're both Avengers, right?
Yes.
Even though he's more of an Avenger than him, but it will be over the cups. And this is for the brand new official, probably the best trailer we will get for Thor: The Dark World. What were your thoughts?
Oh
on
my
Thor:
gosh,
The Dark
I'm
World?
so excited! Like, Marvel, you do it right. You don't put too much in the trailers. Like, that better be the last trailer, I swear.
I hope so.
I hope so, because it's getting closer to, November. I'm so pumped for this movie. They did it really well, where they didn't, show you too much of what's going on, but you showed you enough to be like, ah! And, that humor at the end, that was
pretty
great.
funny. Yeah. For me, the big thing for me in this movie is I really wanted to see more of the space stuff, right? One, they're introducing a lot more sci-fi elements into Phase 2 with Guardians of the Galaxy, and Ultron's a big sci-fi robot kind of thing, and all those kinds of things that are coming. And even in the first one, when they were focusing more on Earth, my favorite parts of the Thor movie were actually when they were in Asgard. And I was really excited that basically the entire trailer, except a few snippets, were basically not on Earth, which looked awesome. There's a giant almost battle with all the Asgardians. It looked like Asgardians with their swords and shields and stuff out there fighting supernatural beings.
Yes.
In a big medieval fantasy kind of a thing. It just, to me, I just love it. I love how all the Marvel movies, all the Thor movies have their own feel. The Captain America have their own feel where they're political thriller kind of things. And, at least that's what the Winter Soldier is going to be. And then the first one was a World War II.
I'm ready for Captain America.
Right.
I need to get a Thor shirt.
The giant hammer?
Yes. Or, Chris Hemsworth's face.
It looks really exciting. Obviously, Tom Hiddleston, who was confirmed to not be in Age of Ultron, much to the dismay of his fans, his rabid fan base he's gained.
I'm sure we're gonna find out what happens to him though in Thor 2.
Well, he did mention something about his character Loki reaching a new level and getting a new element to his character.
Yes.
And I wouldn't be surprised if he sticks around. He's still in Thor 3. I mean, you kind of have to have Loki and Thor, even if they killed Balder and made him not exist. You gotta have Loki with Thor, right? I mean, it would be weird to have a Thor movie without Loki.
Right.
Because, I don't know, the whole premise of the first one was these two grew up together. They know each other in and out. They know what each other are capable of, and it's their back and forth, and even the back and forth between the actors, because the casting was great. Because Tom Hiddleston and Chris Hemsworth are great together. They really are, and it would be a shame unless they give some kind of really cool death scene to Loki in this one. That Loki needs to be in the third one.
Fangirls are gonna go crazy though if he dies.
Oh yeah.
We will see in November.
I know, I'm excited for it.
Ah!
Definitely. And I've actually heard a lot of people who have been like, oh, I have a feeling Thor 2 is not going to be as good.
I know, but no, it's going to be amazing.
It looks awesome. It looks like... Well, one thing you have to understand is the Thor and the Captain America movies were more geared for the target niche nerdy audience than Iron Man, who's their cash cow, who's going for the casuals.
Right.
And Guardians of the Galaxy is obviously going to be a hardcore. I mean, come on, that's about as hardcore as it's going to get.
Right, and even when Thor 1 and Captain America 1 came out, not a lot of people were excited for them, so just to iterate that, yeah, they're more for the
Right.
nerdiness.
They're probably thinking up in Marvel. They're like, all right, well, they're not going to be as popular as Iron Man 3. We know that. That's the casuals movie. And they didn't do a whole lot with moving on the actual world or the universe. You know, they just kind of. And we mentioned that before.
Right.
But kind of like with the first phase, like we're saying, you know, those are the ones where things really started getting going, and they know that they're not going to bomb. They know they're not going to bomb, so they're going to go ahead and do that. They'll probably make more than the first ones did. They'll probably break 200 million. At least get close to. They'll make a ton of money off them.
Right, because they're more popular now than they were when they
By
first
far,
came out.
by far.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I mean, they'll be all right.
So excited.
And that is it for my news. Now it's time to talk with Sarah about anime and book stuff.
Yeah, anime and book stuff. All right, so anime time. All right, so there's a lot of anime stuff going on. Like last week we didn't have like anything, and then this week it's like BAM! Because it's Otakon. Otakon's going on, and I just rhymed. Ha. With Otakon going on, there are a lot of panels at this Otakon, especially with there's a Funimation panel, there's a Sentai Filmworks panel, lots of different panels. So Otakon started the 9th, like Friday of August, and it's going till tomorrow, which would be Sunday. And
Or today.
Yeah, maybe today. Right. Right.
Getting used to stuff.
So here's what is going on with Otakon. So there is a Funimation industry panel that is going to be Saturday, yesterday, since it's going up Sunday, at 3:45 p.m. I'm pretty sure that's going to be 3:45 p.m. Eastern time, because I do believe Otakon is taking place in Baltimore.
Yes, it is.
So
I can confirm this.
yes, it's taking place in Baltimore, and so it would be Eastern time, not the regular time. That is our time. So, and then they also have a Funimation channel panel, which is going to happen today at 12:30 p.m. So, whatever your time, you just figure that, and there it is. But, you know, it's not like Otakon has a channel or anything. That'd be cool, though. If Comic Cons or anime cons had, like, channels.
Maybe. They'd be very empty for most of the year.
Well, I mean, just like, I don't know.
And they really don't need to, because the news comes out on each individual group's channel.
So, maybe someone wants to watch something. Like, okay, anyway, moving on. They also got the English dub premiere of Wolf Children, which we did talk about a few episodes ago.
Right, it's the one about bestiality.
So they're flying out the director, whose name is Mike McFarland, and also the actor Micah Solusad, who is the voice of Ami or Ami or Ma. Sorry for
that character.
Yes, and Jad Saxton, who is voicing Yuki. And in addition to the dub premiere, the cast will be holding a Q&A panel and autograph sessions. Yay! Which the Wolf Children dub premiere will premiere on Saturday, yesterday, at 7 p.m. So it premiered yesterday, and the autographs will take place today at 11 a.m. So, if you're there,
If you're in Baltimore,
get an autograph. So yeah, that's a little part of Otakon. Also, going along with Otakon, there were some animes that got licensed through Funimation and Sentai Filmworks, and I'm very excited to get to the Funimation ones because I think you're gonna go, ah!
Well, let's start with
when you
Sentai
hear
then.
one. Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say. Sentai Filmworks has licensed Argento Soma, Better Man, S. Cry Ed,
Okay, I know that one.
Z-Mind, Zegapane, Sacred Seven, The Girl Who Leapt Through Space, which I was a little disappointed to know that it wasn't anything that had to do with The Girl Who Leapt Through Time.
Is it a sci-fi?
I'm gonna guess so.
I hope so.
They also have Infinite Ridius, Kurokama, the animation, and the Big O. So those are the Sentai Filmworks licensed animes. Yay! I haven't heard of any of them,
I've heard of 2.
but Adam's heard of 2. So, we're all good. They're probably cool, right?
I never really watched The Big O. I know it's a mech anime.
Oh.
And S-Cried is also a mech anime, but it was actually pretty good.
Oh.
From what I remember, it's been years.
Years.
Alright,
so Funimation
bring
has
it.
licensed.
Come on.
I'm gonna leave the best one till last. Witch Hunter Robin.
Yes. Okay.
Code Geass.
Nice.
Lelouch.
Rebellion.
The Rebellion 1 and 2. R2. Actually, it's like Lelouch, the Rebellion, and then R2.
Yeah, they're technically separate shows.
Yeah. They have the same name except for R2's on it.
And one takes place immediately after the other. I don't know why they're different shows, not seasons, but...
I don't know. I do know that's one anime that I really...
You need to watch it.
It's on our watch
It's
list.
really good.
It's on our watch
In fact, we should watch Witch Hunter Robin as well.
Oh, well that can be added. We're just adding animes to our watch list.
Reviews coming your way soon.
Funimation has also licensed Angel Links, Crest of the Stars 1 and 2, and Passage of the Stars: The Birth. And the last one that they licensed is Tales of the Abyss.
Yes.
I thought you'd be very excited to hear that they licensed that one.
One of the best stories in video game history, right there.
Yay!
Hopefully they don't ruin it. I know there's been an anime before. Is it the same anime or is it different? Or
I'm going to probably assume it's probably the same one. Funimation just probably got licensed for it, so Funimation will be able to, play it on their channel and stuff. That's what I'm going to guess.
And maybe that'll open the door for other Tales anime.
Definitely could be a possibility.
Like Zillia, maybe.
Alright, so moving on from Otakon and all their glorious
Tales of the
licenses
Abyss stuff.
Licenses of animes that are awesome.
That's always fun stuff.
Oh yeah, I love it when they're like, oh, we licensed this. I'm like, yes, maybe I'll go on Netflix now. But anyways, moving on from that, the official website for Infinite Stratos 2 anime adaptation of Izuru Yumizuru's Infinite Stratos romantic comedy action light novels announced on Saturday that an original Blu-ray DVD of the anime will be released October 30th. I'm not quite sure if it's going to be an English release, though, because the anime will premiere on Japanese television on October 2nd. Oh, yeah. So, the original video anime, which would be an OVA, will be released less than a month after the anime begins airing in Japan. So, both versions of the Long Vacation edition OVA will contain the 40-minute OVA, 30 minutes of extra footage, a special CD, and an exclusive 28-page booklet. The Blu-ray version of the OVA will retail for 5,250 yen, or about $53 in US money, while the DVD version will only cost 4,200 yen, which is $42 in US dollars. So, like I said, the anime will premiere on October 2nd in Japan, and then they will have the Blu-ray DVD coming out October 30th. So, I'm not quite sure if it's going to be available for...
No, it sounds like a Japanese release,
Yeah.
but at some point. Because
At some point, I'm sure.
Because I know East was released, the first season was released in America, so it would make, or I should say, had an English release.
Mm-hmm.
So it would make sense that the second one would. I mean, right?
Perhaps in the near future. So, moving on from that, like I said, lots going on in anime. It's August.
It is?
It's August. Did you know this?
Who didn't tell me this? I thought it was July.
It's surprise!
Whoa! Mind blown. Only the kind of great in-depth news you get here on UNN.
So, because it's August, there is an Anime August sale going on the PlayStation. They've finally started that. They're partnering with Sony to give the opportunity to win exciting anime prizes through their Anime August Trivia Challenge on Facebook. Mm-hmm. So here's what you have to do. You have to visit the Sony Entertainment Network Facebook page, click on the Anime August application at the top, enter your contact information, and answer three anime related trivia questions, and there will be a different set of questions each week. And so for the first week, there's Dragon Ball Z One Piece. The second week is Full Metal Alchemist Soul Eater, and the third week is Fairy Tail. Answer the questions correctly, and you'll be entered to win one of the 3 weekly anime prize packs.
I'm disappointed in them.
Why?
No Spice and Wolf. They picked those mainstream animes.
I like Soul Eater.
Yeah, but it's gone mainstream.
And Fairy Tail.
It's alright.
And Full Metal Alchemist.
It's pretty good. But still mainstream. Dragon Ball Z is mainstream too, if you didn't know.
Well, yeah. They're all mainstream.
They've all been on Toonami.
So...
Well, except for Fairy Tail, but...
Yeah. Fairy Tail's
it will
still
at some
ever
point.
going right now.
It will at some point.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. So, after you've entered, be sure to go to PlayStation Store to see what anime titles are on sale. So, definitely check that out if you have a PS3 or
Internet.
a PS Vita or Internet. Yes. Check those out. Enter in to win some weekly prizes and, you know, see how good your anime trivia
For
is.
those select categories.
Yes. Because you're jealous because they don't have Spice and Wolf.
Well, they could get like Dot Hack or something too. They shouldn't have said what they were going to be. They should have just thrown random crap at people. It would have been so much better.
I don't think throwing random crap is better.
Oh, throwing random crap is always better.
But anyways, the last thing on our anime stuff going on is Eureka 7 Astral Ocean will be available on DVD and Blu-ray August 13th this
It's a
year.
sequel series, right?
Yes. Yes, it is. And that's all I have for my anime news.
So, Sarah, what's going on in the world of books?
Well, Adam, there's a few things going on in the book world. Not a whole lot, actually. I went through pages and trying to find stuff that was going to be available this week, and there were a few things. And I was like, really? It's all going to be next week. But
Get excited for books next week.
I do have a few things, actually, to talk about a manga book. The 12th and final volume of Naoko Takeuchi's Sailor Moon manga ranked #1 on the Nielsen Bookscan's list of top 20 graphic novels in American bookstores for July. And in addition, the series' 11th volume, which ranked at 4 last month, remained at the top 20 at 17. So, for you Sailor Moon fans, yay! Your last volume ranked at #1.
And you get to magically change clothes still. I don't know, what do they do on Sailor Moon?
Sailor Moon?
Yeah, I never watched
They fight
Sailor
bad
Moon.
guys. Okay, Sailor Moon, they fight bad guys. There's
Yeah.
some romance in it.
This
But-
is original. Okay, go on.
But they have, actually, the thing I remember the most from Sailor Moon watching it on TV is they always had these moral lessons at the end. So they'd have the episode and then they'd have a moral lesson like how you should treat others the way you want to be treated. And they'd show, like, on the episode, you know, how that happened and stuff. Like, that's what they would have. They'd have these moral things like, oh, you know, your friends might tell you something that you don't want to hear, but you should always listen to them, and blah, blah, blah.
Dragon Ball Z had that too. You know, if you didn't want to punch a hole through somebody, you shouldn't get a hole punched through you too.
Right, you should just Kamehameha them.
Right, or was it Destructo Disc, whatever that was? Krillin's disc thing that
Yeah.
would cut through anything? That he never talked to anybody that could actually fight and make use of it?
Well, let's be honest, Krillin dies a lot. So does Goku.
Right. Death means nothing. It's like a soap opera.
Right. There's a lot of death. And a lot of coming back.
Anyway, what else is going on in the world of books?
So, another manga book that's going to be out is called Magi, The Labyrinth of Magic, Volume 1, and it's going to be a paperback. It's by Shinobu Otaka, and it is a fantasy adventure inspired by 1001 Nights. So, Aladdin, really. Deep within the desert, in like the mysterious dungeons, vast stores of riches there for the taking by anyone lucky enough to find them, and brave enough to venture into the depths from where few have ever returned.
Sounds pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm. Plucky young adventurer Aladdin means to find the dungeons and their riches, but Aladdin is just as mysterious as the treasures he seeks. Together with his friend Alibaba and the genie Hugo or something like that, Aladdin sets out to find his fortune in the depths of the endless dunes.
But he is a genie. Can't he just be like, make me rich?
No.
It's not like Disney. It's not like the Disney version.
Oh.
With
there were still rules.
Yeah, but he could ask for money.
Yeah.
Alright, now we're talking about Disney movies again. Let's move on.
And this last book, is actually a book. It's called, actually, before we get to that book, just so I mention it, the Magi, the Labyrinth of Magic, Volume 1, it is read right to left. Just in case you're not a manga reader, mangas are read from right to left like they are in Japan. So, clearing that up. So we have this next book. It's called Blood of Tyrants, and it's the Temeraire, not quite sure, series. Sorry if I say that wrong. There's a lot of words in the world that are
made up.
Yeah. It's by Naomi Novik, and this series is a brilliant combination of fantasy and history that reimagines the Napoleonic Wars as fought with the aid of intelligent dragons. Is a 21st century classic. From the first volume, His Majesty's Dragon, readers have been entranced by the globe-spanning adventures of the resolute Captain William Lawrence and his brave but impulsive dragon. Now, in Blood of Tyrants, the volume of the series, Novik is at the very height of her powers as she brings the story to its wildest, most colorful canvas yet. So I'm going to guess that this is part of the series. Not quite sure which book it is in the series. I'm going to guess maybe the second one.
Not the first one.
But, just so you know what it's about. The shipwrecked and cast ashore in Japan with no memory of Temeraire or his own experiences as an English aviator, Lawrence finds himself entangled in deadly political intrigues that threaten not only his own life, but England's already precarious position in the Far East. And it goes on to tell you more about what it's about. But yes, it's like a Napoleonic Wars, something going on along those lines. It's in that kind of time period. But there's fantasy stuff going on in it.
Interesting.
Yes. So, if you're into, like, history, suppose, art, alternate history, and fantasy, this might be a book to check out on August 13th. The same goes with the Magi.
So, that's our show. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the section below. Like the video, just because you like us, maybe. If not,
maybe.
Just do it for the lols. At some point during this video, there should have been a mystery box, right?
Yeah, somewhere.
Somewhere. But you had to watch it to find out.
Yeah.
So click it, and you'll go somewhere randomly across the interwebs.
Woo!
And over the course of this next week, I will have a review on Elysium, the sci-fi action movie starring Matt Damon. Did you have anything?
I just want to put in that we both have separate channels. I have an art channel, and I also have a channel that I haven't gotten up yet.
And you can see links for both of them right here, as well as in the featured section on the Utopias.
Yes, and Monsieur Adam here, or Reading Games, has his Let's Plays of Tales of Zillia right now that you should totally check out, because they're amazing, and he's very funny in them.
And I have a bad mic.
That's okay, though.
I'm working on it.
It's not that bad. It's just, it cuts in and out sometimes. Oh, technology.
Alright guys, see you next time.
See ya!
Bye.